Life has a way of testing people when they least expect it. Some tests come in the form of blessings, others in the form of hardships. For William Turner, a successful entrepreneur from Denver, Colorado, the test came when his financial empire, built carefully over a decade, suddenly crumbled in a matter of months. The story of how his life fell apart, how people around him changed, and how he discovered the truth about loyalty, love, and human nature is one worth telling. William was born and raised in Denver. From a young age, he had a vision of building something bigger than himself. He was always fascinated by business, numbers, and the idea of creating opportunities. After graduating from the University of Colorado with a degree in business administration, he started a small real estate firm. With hard work, dedication, and smart investments, he turned it into one of the city's most respected property companies. By the time William was 35, he owned multiple properties, drove luxury cars, and lived in a modern mansion in Cherry Creek, one of Denver's upscale neighborhoods. He was admired by many, envied by some, and respected by his peers. More importantly, he believed he had built not just a business but also strong relationships with friends, business partners, and even in his personal life. At the center of William's life was his girlfriend, Emily Brooks. They had been together for 4 years. Emily was stunning, outgoing, and always the center of attention at parties. William adored her and often showered her with expensive gifts, designer handbags, jewelry, weekend trips to Miami or Los Angeles, and fine dining experiences. To him, Emily represented love, partnership, and the kind of future he wanted to build. Around William was also a circle of friends. His closest buddy was Ryan, a man he had known since high school. Ryan was charismatic, always around during celebrations, and one of the loudest voices cheering William's success. There were also others, colleagues, investors, and acquaintances who seemed to orbit around William because of his wealth and influence. Life seemed perfect until the market crash. It started subtly, with one of William's major property deals falling through. Then came rising interest rates, investors pulling out, and unexpected lawsuits. Within a year, William's company was drowning in debt. Properties were seized, cars sold off, and the mansion in Cherry Creek was no longer his. The empire he had worked so hard to build collapsed like a house of cards. But it wasn't just the financial loss that hurt William. It was what came after. The first to show her true colors was Emily. At first, she pretended to be supportive. She would say things like, "Don't worry, babe, we'll get through this." But her tone changed as William's situation grew worse. She began spending more time away, claiming she was with friends or at the gym. Soon, she started criticizing him. "Will, you used to be ambitious," she snapped one evening. "Now you're just stuck. I didn't sign up for this kind of life." William tried to reassure her, telling her he was working on a new business plan, that he still had faith. But her patience ran out quickly. Within weeks, Emily packed her bags and left, leaving only a short note, "I can't do this anymore. I need stability." Her departure was like a dagger to William's heart. But what shocked him more was what happened with his so-called friends. Ryan, who had been by his side during the good years, suddenly became unavailable. Calls went unanswered, texts ignored. When William finally ran into him at a local cafe, Ryan acted awkwardly. "Hey man," Ryan said, barely making eye contact. "Sorry, I've just been really busy." William could see it in his eyes. The friendship had been tied to money and lifestyle. Without the parties, the trips, and the luxury, Ryan didn't see a reason to stay. Others followed the same pattern. The people who used to laugh with him at rooftop bars and toast champagne at his success were nowhere to be found. Invitations stopped coming. Conversations went cold. For the first time in years, William found himself truly alone. At first, he sank into despair. He questioned everything, his choices, his worth, and even his future. Nights were the hardest, as he sat in his modest apartment, far from the life he once knew. But slowly, something began to change inside him. William realized that while money had given him comfort, it had also blinded him. He had surrounded himself with people who loved the lifestyle he provided, not the man he truly was. He had mistaken attention for loyalty, gifts for love, and parties for friendship. The turning point came one afternoon when William visited a local community center. He had gone there simply to clear his mind, but he ended up volunteering to help with a financial literacy workshop for young people. To his surprise, he felt alive again, teaching, sharing knowledge, and seeing genuine gratitude from people who had no interest in his bank account. There, he met Sarah Mitchell, a teacher who worked at the center. Sarah was nothing like Emily. She was kind, grounded, and deeply passionate about helping others. They started talking after one of the workshops, and soon, a friendship blossomed. Unlike others, Sarah never asked about William's past wealth or his losses. She valued him for his ideas, his resilience, and his heart. It wasn't just Sarah who reminded William of life's real values. As he continued volunteering, he met people from all walks of life: single parents struggling to pay rent, students dreaming of a better future, and workers who lived paycheck to paycheck but still found joy in small things. These experiences humbled him and gave him a new perspective. Over time, William rebuilt, not his wealth, but his character. He started a small consultancy, using his business knowledge to help local entrepreneurs avoid the mistakes he had made. The work wasn't glamorous, and the pay was modest, but it was fulfilling. He no longer chased luxury, he chased meaning. Months turned into a year, and William's life looked very different. He lived in a modest home, drove a simple car, and spent his evenings with people who valued him for who he was, not what he owned. Sarah became an important part of his life, encouraging him, standing by him, and showing him that true love wasn't about riches but about respect, trust, and companionship. One day, while walking through downtown Denver, William bumped into Emily. She was dressed in expensive clothes, holding designer bags, and accompanied by a wealthy-looking man. She gave William a surprised look, then forced a smile. "Will, it's been so long," she said, her tone dripping with artificial sweetness. William simply smiled back. He felt no anger, no bitterness, just clarity. He had once thought he needed her to be happy, but now he knew better. As Emily walked away, William thought about the journey he had taken. Losing everything had shown him the truth. Money could attract people, but it could never guarantee loyalty. When the money runs out, the masks fall off, and true colors are revealed. In the end, William Turner realized that the greatest wealth wasn't in his bank account, but in the people who stood by him when he had nothing. And with that realization, he finally found peace.